State Board of Equalization, 3rd District, our district. Due to term limits, it's an open seat. My opponent is none other than the mayor of Santa Monica, a municipality I affectionately refer to as the People's Republic of Santa Monica. I don't know if you noticed when you came in, but it's a beautiful, clear, and sunny day outside. And it's a day that my opponent rarely sees. Why, you may ask? Well, because he lives under a dark and constant cloud of criminal corruption, one likely to continue and follow him to his next office. In fact, both my opponent and his wife are elected officials representing Soviet Monica, and more importantly, they are subjects of current ongoing investigations by various state and local agencies. And you ask why? Well, they're pay-to-play schemes while holding the public trust, or better, the public purse. Jerome Horton has endorsed my opponent as his replacement. Why, you may ask? Well, I think it's because, one, it takes one to know one. If you followed anything about the scandal at the BOE, you know that he's accused of misusing, ordering new office furniture costing $118,000 and using, I think, somewhere like 113 tax auditors to do parking lot duty at his women empowering conferences. It's pretty bad. This election is far too important and far too consequential, and we cannot allow those who live under that constant dark cloud of corruption to be elected to higher public office. We must not replace Jerome Horton, the enabler of corruption at the Board of Equalization, with his fellow traveler. If I'm elected, I intend to audit, to reform, and to strengthen the State Board of Equalization. It's been significantly weakened because of Jerome's activities. Pay for pay cannot be allowed, and if I'm elected, will not be allowed to continue. It stops right here and right now. And my name is G. Rick Marshall. Of course, you know that. I'm in this race for public service, not self-service. You can ask me a question.
You know, we're a club that likes to support our candidates for office. What can we do to help get you elected?
Get out your checkbooks, write me a check for well, there's going to be several things. Many of you should be receiving an email from me probably today or tomorrow begging for money. That's one. But on that same form, you'll see an opportunity to volunteer. We're going to try something with cell phones where you'll text voters off your cell phone. I thought that would be interesting. You might like to do that. That's been known to be effective. We're also going to, assuming I raise enough money, we'll have lawn signs, and so I'll need people to distribute them. I'll need people to display them. We do plan to do robocalls, so you won't have to be calling. And, basically get out on social media. When you, if you make a donation to my campaign, if you make a donation to my campaign, there at the bottom you can tweet or you can share on Facebook that you've made a campaign, and it will put it out on your social media sites, and you can spread the word that way. If you get emails from me, send them to your friends, and let's get this out, because I think I have a fairly good chance of winning, because it's an open seat. There's not an incumbent. And the Democrats are divided. They want to get rid of the State Board of Equalization. My opponent doesn't. So I'm not sure how much it's going to affect their support of him. I do know he's not that well liked in Democrat circles. Yes?
Well, two questions. What are the boundaries of the district? Because I know that, and the other question is, could you clarify what does the board do? Because you told me because the power's been taken away, you said.
Well, the Board of Equalization is a constitutional, it's the only publicly elected tax board in the United States. It's a constitutional office. There are 4 members elected by district. We just divide California into 4s. and I'm in the 3rd district. The 3rd district is all of Ventura County, most of Los Angeles County, but if you're on the other side of the mountains, like in Santa Clarita and Lancaster and Palmdale, you're not in the 3rd district. And then if you live in Chino Hills in San Bernardino, you're in the 3rd district. And that's basically what it is. If you saw my name on the ballot, assuming you voted in, I had some friends that I found out they didn't vote in June because I didn't tell them I was running for office, and then they came, oh, really?
Oh, jeez.
Just gave away, you didn't vote for me, but but they've all assured me they'll vote for me in November. That's the boundaries of the district. The Board of Equalization now, it used to collect, its major function was collect the sales tax and distribute it. But there was a bunch of problems in that, and they took that away. They also used to hear tax appeals, but there was some problems with that one because they thought that there was too much, I wouldn't call it pay to play, but it was where, well, we'll decide your case in a manner that's advantageous to you, and then, oh, by the way, could you help give me a campaign donation or two? You have to decide whether that's, the problem in running a Board of Equalization, it takes a lot of money. And this is just a fact of politics. Most candidates get their money, especially incumbents, get their money from the people they oversee. Because it's, they're like the Fran man, you can pay me now or you can pay me later. Okay, that didn't go over. What the State Board of Equalization does now is it is constitutionally responsible for, and Scott can tell you this because he's a farmer's insurance agent, they don't pay, farmer's insurance doesn't pay income tax on their premium. They pay a fee set by the State Board of Equalization.
Sales tax.
Pardon?
We don't pay sales tax.
Yeah, okay, you don't pay sales tax, I don't think you pay income tax either. And that's what we no longer
on the
assess.
premium? Yeah.
On the premium, right. And so the State Board of Equalization sets that, but farmers, Scott doesn't come to us individually, farmers comes to us corporately. We also decide how to tax railroad cars. We also decide how to tax, I think it's airline jet fuel, and there's also utilities, AT&T, Southern California Edison, those, they have property and we tax those. And then the other big one, which affected us a few years back in Los Angeles County, Board of Equalization audits county assessors, those people who set your property taxes on your home, to make sure that they're fairly assessed all the way around. And you know that Mr., I believe it was Nogales?
John Noguez.
Nogales, yeah. He was giving many of his friends favored assessments, and they realized that it wasn't because their constitutional duty, everybody for the same property is supposed to pay the same, have the same assessment. That wasn't what's happened. Found out that he was doing that, and that's what took him down. That was a Board of Equalization audit. We went from, I want to say, 4,000 employees, Board of Equalization. We're now down to like 200 or something like that. Still have this big, beautiful building in there, but most of it is up in Sacramento. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Why were there 4,000?
Because they were handling the sales tax and all the municipalities and paying, collecting it and paying it out, plus the auditing.
Is that done now?
There's all those employees are still there. They no longer work for the Board of Equalization. They now work for the Office of Tax Administration, which does the sales tax, or they work for the one with administrative law judges, which hears the tax appeals, Office of Tax Appeals, everything's called. That's what they did. I will say this much. If the Republicans had been, if there had been a Republican governor and Republicans in charge of the legislature, Jerome Horton would be in jail, I think, just based on what he did. But because the Democrats are in charge, they just kind of swept it under the rug by doing this whole, well, we'll just take, we won't allow them to do this anymore, we'll just take it away from them. And Jerome has this problem, he's always skirted close to the law his entire time. His wife is I believe she's the city clerk of Inglewood.
Yeah.
And they kind of run that town.
Can you share what he did?
About,
We need to move a little bit along.
Okay, I do have another question.
yeah,
Do you intend on canvassing certain areas or door to door?
well, if in a race like this, that's not always easy, although there are some places where, I'll just be honest. Hidden Hills is the richest city in America behind Chevy Chase, Maryland. And it is because all the actresses and actors live up there. So I thought, you know, it might be good to go up there and walk Hidden Hills.
There's no path.
For Board of Equalization.
Yeah.
There's probably no way, they're all gated, you can't get it.
Oh,
It doesn't do, what does most effectively are robocalls. And if I'm able to raise the money, you can get on slate mailers. Which go out, but most people ask questions like, Arthur, what does the Board of Equalization do? And so if you're out walking precincts, you're spending all your time telling them what the Board of Equalization does, educating them. And what most people do, and I'll just tell you why I won. It wasn't rocket science. And why I came in first, it wasn't rocket science. There were 8 candidates, and 6 of them were Democrats. 1 of them was a no political party, and then 1 Republican. Well, most people, when they go and they look, if they're gonna vote in that race, they look and see what the party preference is, and they vote for that. And all the Republicans voted for me, and all the Democrats spread their vote around the others. And I came up with like 27% of the vote and was first place. But the other 70% of the vote was spread out among those 5 Democrats.
You said something about San Bernardino County or just city?
Just Chino Hills and San Bernardino.
City of San Bernardino.
You're right. I ran 4 years ago and I won San Bernardino County, which was just Chino Hills, and I won Ventura County. Problem is I massively lost Los Angeles County. Again, because I put Republican on mine.
yeah.
But Jerome Horton had incumbent, and he didn't have incumbent, he had member State Board of Equalization. And that brought him a lot of, well, hey, we haven't heard anything bad about the State Board of Equalization, so we'll just put him back in. So his incumbency got him probably, I'm hoping, 100 to 150,000 votes. And those are what I'm hoping to pull over to my side, because the mayor of Santa Monica, he's well known, and the Democrats, the activist Democrats hate him. So I'm hoping that there's enough. But again, this is a whole thing, and there's, one of the things I'm trying to, I'll just mention to you right now, I have 2 things. This coming Wednesday, I have to write a check for $62.50 to the Secretary of State so that my candidate statement can be in the voter information guide. And if you'd like to help out with that, I would be greatly encouraged. The other thing I'm trying to do is raise $20,000 for a survey that we're going to run among Democrats and try to find a message that appeals to Democrats so they'll vote for me. Partisan Democrats are not going to vote for me, just like partisan Republicans won't vote for Tony. I'm going to run on this corruption angle with Tony and make him defend it out there, and hopefully the LA Times will say, yeah, he's a corrupt guy, and they'll think I'm good enough, they'll endorse me. Now, I know many of you say, what do you want the LA Times endorsement for? The reason I want the LA Times endorsement is not to have the LA Times endorsement, but to create a ruckus so people will take a look at me.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you, Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a CPA, and in January went to a tax conference, and what we mentioned was the power that the State Board of Equalization lost in the 3rd district that Rick is more running for because of the corruption by the incumbent. They have very little to do anymore. They were very powerful prior to this, and this one corrupt politician ruined the State Board of Equalization. So, our next speaker will be Keith McCown, and he's here to talk to us about the San Diego trip. And While I'm still at the podium, we have flyers in the back. So pick up some flyers. Put them in
And a sign-up list.
You guys tired of waiting?
No.
Waiting, getting bored?
No,
All right.
no,
President Donald J. Trump said we're going to get tired of winning. I highly doubt
no.
Good morning, Keith McCowan. I'm the VP for the South Los Angeles Inglewood Republican Assembly. I'm here to announce that TLRA and our unit we're coming together for a joint fundraiser, actually a road trip to the Ajas Casino and Outlet Mall. And we want to encourage you and invite you to join us. It's going to be August 25th. That's a Saturday, early morning. Once we leave, we get there, we're going to have about a 5-hour layover, have our fun, get some memories of the trip, roll it back on home. As Claude mentioned, there are flyers in the back. The trip is going to be $28 per seat. I encourage you to get your $28 to myself or Claude. I'm here this afternoon. I can accept cash, check, or credit. We want to get the bus full. We want to have a good event, and we want it to be all Republicans. The hotel, along with that $28, will include round trip to the casino and back, light refreshment. We're going to have a few raffles, a few games along the way for fun. The casino is going to kick in, I believe, $10 a playing cash with your first 15 playing points. And basically, that concludes my announcement. We encourage you because we need funds for our unit, and all proceeds raised will go to political activities and basic needs for our units to keep them operating. All right? We got to do this for our elected officials and our units.
Thank you, Keith. And his unit is the sister club of ours. We're all part of the state TLRA. So, thank you. Next, we have that infamous Arthur Shopper.
Okay. It's all cool. Thank you so
I'll
much.
let you tell us what you're talking about.
That's fine. I don't intend to say a lot. I think it's just, we were talking about, are we tired of winning? No, not at all. And here in the city of Torrance, I think we've got so much to be grateful for. That's why I wanted to come here, hoping that we don't just kind of rest on our laurels. We've got 2 new city council members, both endorsed by the TLRA, by the way, Aurelio and George. I do know already the 2 of them are asking a lot of hard questions that weren't asked by the previous council. So it's really important, and I'll start sending out e-blasts. Claude's helping me with that. I'm gonna also get in touch with the BCR. I was the president for the Beach Cities Republicans for 2 years. Then I wanted to focus more on activism full time. So, to start doing things like this. It's really important, guys. We've got to start hammering the Torrance City Council. We've got to let our 2 new guys know that we're behind them 100%. They're not going to be able to fight this alone. We've got the sanctuary state issue. The 2 of them ran on this. Aurelio had it on his flyers to stop sanctuary state. So it's really important. I'll have the e-list of the 2 new people now that Heidi and Kurt, especially Kurt Wiedemann being gone. This guy was the biggest cheerleader for Agenda 21, for community choice. All those corrupt green programs are going to come to a stop, but we don't want it to stay there. We want them to get out of the Council of Governments. We want the money to come back to the city. To me, it's just as much as possible. You're going to get these lists. Some of you are already getting my information. If I don't have it now, if you're not getting my emails, feel free to speak to me afterwards. I'll get you in touch. I'm partnering back again with Mass Resistance. I had worked with that pro-family group in the past. Time was an issue. I've got my time back so I can help them. I'm doing that too. But to me, I just can't stress this enough. Torrance-Lomita, we need to start getting more people in the city to start showing up to these meetings again. How many of you were at the installation for the 2 new city council members on Tuesday? Everybody who's a Torrance resident should have been there. And even thank you for being there, Scott. I really appreciate it. I mean, you don't even live in the city and you were there, so that's a big deal.
Business here,
But
I care about it.
I appreciate it. If you had been there and I did a video of it, almost every seat was filled. Everybody was up in arms about the car wash that they wanted to build down the street. If they're all up in arms about that, that's something we need to connect to on, making sure CCA doesn't come back, ending sanctuary state, dealing with this coyote issue. I think that a lot of the partisan clubs aren't focusing enough on these local issues. We hitch onto those, we can get them on board. to fight the other things too. Absolutely. We've been hammering the city now. And I just want to give a quick shout out to We the People Rising. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Deanne. Thank you, Raul, for being here. Thank you. They drive from San Bernardino County, especially Raul driving from Apple Valley. So really, they deserve a lot of appreciation. They're willing to step up and show up. So we're going to hope that we can get something going on in Torrance, so you'll be able to come here with us. Yeah, but we've really got to hammer. We won seats, but we can't let the momentum stop, because otherwise they're going to fall right into it. Aurelio was talking to me and he was telling me, you sit on the dais, you're on the other side of it, and it's like something does start to come over you. There's like an impulse. You want to start being liked by the staff. It just starts to infect you. And I think you've experienced that with the city council in Upland. They were very different when I saw them in the city council chambers versus being at the coffee with them a week before. We want to protect them from that. Let them know that we have their back, that they don't have to start playing nice with the staff to try to get anything done. And they're already trying to make inroads, but we can't give up on that. So let's keep backing them up, stop those issues. If the Butcher Hill project, people were wearing shirts at the meeting opposing this. People are really waking up at the city. We've got to work with them on that and get them to fight our issues too. So I'll go really quick. Was there a question?
Yeah, Arthur, just when does the Torrance City Council meet?
They meet every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday?
Well, except for the last Tuesday of the month, and sometimes there are dark days that are scheduled in advance. But generally they meet every Tuesday. The meeting starts at 7. So the problem is we're competing with a lot of city councils throughout the region. But generally the idea is we'll start telling people. In fact, specifically, talk to me afterwards. I am going to be in Rancho Palos Verdes on Tuesday for sure, I promise. They're trying to fight SB 54. But I'm going to rush down to the city council meeting in Torrance afterwards. But I do need someone's help to be there to pull an item in case I can't be there. Again, they need to see people's support there. The biggest thing too is the districts. It hit Upland. I don't know what's happening in Apple Valley, but they've just shoved it down our throats here in Torrance to split the city up into 6 districts, so that instead of you voting for 2 or 3 city council members per cycle, you're only going to be voting for 1 every 4 years. This is totally eroding our voter franchise. We just can't have this. Not only that, but South Torrance has very different issues from North Torrance, from West, or from the whole city is so separate as it is that it's just going to ruin things on the city council even more. I spoke out against it in June. There is a chance. I know we have 2 people on our side before the election. The other 2 now are very sensitive to our concerns about this. We have a majority that we can activate to stop this so that we can stay with at-large elections. This is really important. We've got to stop this. Carson said no. Santa Monica said no to it. Huntington Beach pushed it back. That's really important. And that's one of the big issues that I want to fight this coming Tuesday at the city council meeting. So it's Tuesday the 17th. So I'm going to be there later. If someone can be there ahead of me, lots of people, especially in the city. I'll be sending out emails. Claude will as well. It's really important to start showing the momentum, like what I saw this past week, just to fight a car wash. So it's really important. Any other questions? Yeah, thank you so much. Just see me afterwards. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Arthur, have you ever thought about taking some of your spine and donating it to Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell?
Absolutely. There you go. The next best is
somebody else. Did you want to speak?
Robin's would like to speak on SB 717.
Oh, please, yes.
Yeah, we'll give you a few minutes. Please take.
Yeah, thank you, Robin.
Thank you, Rob. And let us know what 174 is.
Peter,
SB
right?
174 is a bill written by Senator Ricardo Lara.
Oh, that's
Oh,
gotta be a good one.
This legislation states that in our state, if you're in our country illegally, you can be appointed to boards and commissions. And not only can you serve on boards and commissions, you can receive grants and stipends. If any of you are familiar with that case that was very well known when 2 illegal aliens were appointed to commissions in Huntington Park, was a couple of years ago.
Yes.
Well, by the way,
Very.
Ricardo Lara's district office is a stone's throw from that city council, so he's
Right.
very involved in that. So now what he wants to do is make it So that is a legitimate position for people in our country illegally. We went up, it had its first hearing in the Judiciary Assembly, and we went up and we testified against it. But of course, it passed out of committee because all committees are 6 Democrats and 3 Republicans in Sacramento, so they could just railroad through anything of this nature. So where it's at right now is it's in the Assembly. So we're asking people to call your Assembly member, visit their office, and we're trying to apply pressure to get the Assembly members to vote no. It'll probably be they're on recess right now till August, so it'll be voted on sometime in August. So it's SB 174, and it's called the California Citizen Act. Yeah, they're calling it citizen. And there's also one other quick bad bill that that Senator Ricardo Lara is in a similar state. It's headed to the Assembly for a vote. This one passed out of the Senate. SB 946. That's going to legalize street vending on all California public sidewalks. And so if your city has an ordinance that says no street vending on our public sidewalks, SB 946 will overrule that. So
Wow.
the whole state of California. This would be a new law. A new law that overrides the local ordinances and makes it legal to vend on all California sidewalks. Now, the #1 supporter of that bill, the ACLU, so what they're lining up to do, if it passes and then gets signed into law by Jerry Brown, they'll be suing cities that don't abide by the law.
So in other words, there'll be taco trucks on every corner.
Well, nobody will go hungry.
Oh, brother.
SB 1174 and SB 946. Please contact your Assembly members and talk to vote no.
Robin, could you give us a hypothetical scenario if we end up with illegal aliens on commissions and boards?
Yes, so
And it's
this would be
breaking- it's
statewide boards, this will be, commissions. I mean, there would be no limit. I mean,
But-
Say they could be a governor.
well, that's probably next. But they could be the chairman of the Board of Equalization.
Commission.
Yeah, they could be
Is
the
there-
chairman. They could, be
Yeah.
the head of the Board of Equalization.
Is there a lawsuit that FAIR is prepared to file? Because this is just egregiously
what?
ridiculous.
Okay,
I mean, we've been fighting it for 3 years.
no one paying attention to it. We People Rising, we're the only official opposition to the bill. There's no other official
Yeah.
opposition. So it's sliding in under the radar. We actually went and met with the Hesperia Assembly, Republican Assembly member Jay Overnort's staff, and we said, look, you guys need to hold press conferences. The public
Yeah.
doesn't know about this legislation, so we're trying to get the word out.
Okay.
And it's also breaking the Brown Act when they do that, and that's the only act we have that lets the public talk to the city council and all the other board meetings you go to.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm so glad you guys are here.
All right, I'm sure you agree with this sign.
Yes. Yes.
We have a president that is doing his job, but the Democrats are not allowing him to do his job because they can't seem to get over the fact that he won the election.
And they
He's in
lost.
England right now, and they're protesting.
I know, they're protesting all over.
And then
Oh,
in
yes,
Finland
yes, they
too.
are, especially in England.
We're also
You know,
supporting.
I just want to make one very important point.
Right.
We, the people, have the power of the vote. They can get you elected, and anyone else that's running for office, but we need to get the vote out. And we need to empower the people, make them aware of the fact that we have the power of the vote. All we have to do is go out there and motivate people to vote. I ran in the last election as Secretary of State. First time I've ever ran for any political position, and I came in third. And
How
I
many
was
votes did you
surprised.
get? How many votes did you get?
I got 380,000 votes.
Wow.
Which to me, you know, I was hoping I could run second, but I was happy with the fact that I was able to, you know, run third. But we, like I keep saying, we the people have the power to vote. All we have to do
That's good. Oh.
And this is,
Yes.
I just came up with this morning. Let's abolish the Democratic, notice the rat in the
Yeah.
booth. So, thank
Thank
you.
you, Raul.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Dash stamped.
We're running a little bit late, but let's go on that 10-minute break and then we'll come back and we'll have our guest speaker, Pete Hardeen, telling
Alright.
us all
We'll
about
be back in 10
the
minutes.
plan.
I'm going to close out.